So another Nintendo Direct has come and gone, this time for September 2023. I can assure you, I have some thoughts on this one. Stay until the end. The way the Direct began was with Splatoon 3 Side Order, the final part of the expansion pass for Splatoon 3. A lot of you probably know I have not bought Splatoon 3 yet, and this expansion to this point is not convincing me, but I will admit it looks neat. This appears to be taking an Octo expansion style campaign where you have the protagonist alongside Pearl, who's making a comeback, and some other appears to be Octolink, who has some connections to Marina from Splatoon 2. I do like the art style and the aesthetic they're going for here. It seems to be more combat oriented, which I don't necessarily know I expected, but could work in the Splatoon style. Obviously, the combat in Splatoon is phenomenal, but I've been used to the campaigns really focusing more on the platforming element, specifically the main stories. I'm curious to see more of this. It's out next spring. Will it convince me to finally get the game? We shall see. It felt like it was only a matter of time before a new Mario vs. Donkey Kong game climbed its way onto Nintendo Switch. I did not expect a remake though. Mario vs. Donkey Kong is a remake of the title from the Game Boy Advance, and while it certainly looks fun, I really thought that they would do something new with all this time they've taken to put one of these games on Nintendo Switch. That being said, if you are a fan of these games, it seems like this will be right up your alley. It looks fun. Next, we had another look at Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which continues to look great. This was unveiled a few months ago back at Summer Game Fest. It's a Metroidvania-style title from the same developers that brought us Rayman Legends. I do have confidence in that team. I have confidence in this game. The most worrying thing is the combat. It seems like that could use a little bit of work. I hope it doesn't get repetitious. Another look at the Super Mario RPG remake. And one thing I was surprised about was how they're handling or how they're changing damage in this game. If you perform a perfect attack, it'll damage all enemies in the vicinity. I'm wondering how exactly this is going to affect the balance of the title. The triple move gauge is an addition that I'm totally on board with. The new attacks look super fun. Although the Mario RPG remake doesn't appear to be adding a lot of new elements, what is there looks incredibly solid. What the Switch has managed to do throughout its lifespan is really bring attention to some lesser known titles. And I think this can exactly be said for another Code Recollection. This is a remake of two games that were on the Nintendo DS. The first one, Trace Memory, and its unlocalized sequel. This seems very story focused, reminds me a little bit of Fatal Frame. Seems like a really touching story. I like the atmosphere they're trying to convey throughout the trailer. This is another game that's out early next year, January 19th. We got our first proper look at the upcoming Princess Peach title. It has a title now after only 3 months. It's titled Princess Peach Showtime. Graphically, this game looks great. It's the gameplay where I do have some concerns, namely how much depth there's going to be. Peach can transform into various outfits. She can be a sword fighter. She can be a chef. It seemed to be, a wide variety of outfits, and those change up the gameplay a lot. I'm a bit worried that they're only going to be piecemeal, that they're going to go rapid fire through each of the transformations. But I do need to say that I really do enjoy what they're going for here. It just seems like a really lively, uplifting sort of game that you can play with the entire family. And it's always nice to see a new IP from a big developer such as Nintendo. I certainly hope this sticks the landing once it comes out next March. I didn't have too many thoughts on SaGa Emerald Beyond, other than the character portraits look great, and there was one character in the party that looks a lot like Dunban.
That's Dunban over there!
So yes, let the memes commence. Remastered versions of the first 3 Tomb Raider titles are coming to Switch. The impact that the Tomb Raider franchise has had on gaming really cannot be overstated. And to have them finally come to Switch, have the original 3 games come to Nintendo Switch, is remarkable. And I love that they're giving players the ability to switch between the new remastered visuals and just stick with the old, more polygonal look. We got another look at Detective Pikachu Returns. There are some neat gameplay mechanics in here, namely what stood out to me was being able to peer through walls. I'm curious how that is utilized throughout the adventure. And what little we heard of the soundtrack also seemed to be very nice. Again, there's so much coming out at the end of this year that I won't have time for this, but I know there are a lot of people invested in the Detective Pikachu property. And for those people, I'm very happy that they're getting another title in this franchise. Now, one of the more interesting games of the Direct was Trombone Champ. I loved every single second of this. This seems completely unique, the way you're using controls and the Joy-Con to simulate playing the trombone. I can imagine a lot of parents are going to hate this game though, especially if they have multiple kids playing at the same time and all the noise coming from the TV. But this just seems like a lot of fun. This seems like a great party game. Get a few friends together, start up a band, and it's available today. I'm gonna need to look at this because this seems like a lot of fun. We got another Contra game coming to Nintendo Switch. Let's see how this one turns out. Contra Operation Galuga is a reimagining coming from Konami and Way Forward. After Rogue Core came out a few years ago, I would not dismiss anyone who's worried about how this game might turn out, because for those who don't remember, the last Contra game was not that well received. And some of the footage from this trailer, I gotta tell you, particularly when they were showing co-op, there were a lot of performance issues. This is coming out next year, so they have some months to figure it out. And I want Contra to return in a way that's big and glamorous. I want this property to succeed. Definitely want to wait and see what they have more closer to launch when the game is more complete, see how it performs. I hope this is the proper return to Contra that so many have been waiting for. One of the biggest surprises of the Direct, at least for me, was Unicorn Overlord. Now this might have had the most stunning visuals of any game in the Direct. I mean, just incredibly striking hand-drawn art, particularly in the combat. And the gameplay looks fun as well. If you're a tactics fan, I mean, Switch appears to be the place to be. And Unicorn Overlord appears to be another game that should be on your radar. It's coming out March 8th of next year. Just for that art style, I'll have to keep this game on my radar. We had another look at Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. And if you have not played Luigi's Mansion 2, this appears to be the best way to play it. Like really all the games in the Luigi's Mansion franchise, Luigi's Mansion 2 just has so much personality, and all the various mansions you visit have so much gameplay variety. They're all incredibly unique. It's really a joy even just to witness Luigi's reactions throughout the game. Although the mission structure, I think, leaves a lot to be desired, it does impact some of the pacing. This is still an absolute must-play if you're even remotely a fan of Luigi's Mansion. Strongly recommend it that you pick it up. I was a little bit concerned by the way some of the graphics looked in this trailer, but this is due out next summer, and I remember when Luigi's Mansion 3 was revealed, initially that game didn't look the best. But after a while, and certainly when it came to launch, it's one of the prettiest games on Nintendo Switch. I think this game has a similar opportunity to really serve as a way to showcase the platform's capability, even though we're nearing the end of its lifespan. Going away from the games for a little bit, Nintendo shared some updates on their Nintendo Museum. And I remember reading about this, feels like just yesterday, and now it's almost complete. This is due to be finished with construction by next March. Stuff can change, but to have a museum that goes through all of Nintendo's history, all their products, I think it's going to be a great tourist attraction. I'll certainly need to visit when I do get the chance to go to Japan. I really, really want to go. Hope to go very soon. To see Nintendo branch out and actually do this, I think is great. And I can see so many families visiting here after years and years of begging and pleading, and I mean pleading, for a new F-Zero. Nintendo heard your call, and they're doing an F-Zero Battle Royale. F-Zero 99 is the next title coming to Nintendo Switch Online. I think my reaction right now may say it all. Look, the game itself looks fun, but after so long of waiting for a new F-Zero, this is what they're delivering? It's disappointing. You know, disappointing certainly It may even sell it short. If you're just bumping into people constantly, I could see this getting really repetitious, really boring after a while. This likely will be fun, but I would like to have seen more from F-Zero, whether it be, a remaster or a new game. It felt like this was the time to do it, and they didn't. So it's disappointing, but you know what? It's still another decently cool looking game that I will need to try out. It's free to all Nintendo Switch Online members. 2 League of Legends games, the first one being Bandle. Really enjoyed the way this game looked aesthetically, and Song of Nunu really gave me Uncharted vibes. You had a lot of puzzle solving, a lot of climbing, and a focus, or at least it appears to be, on the relationship between the 2 main characters. We got another look at WarioWare Move It. There's over 200 micro games here. I think I'm going to pass on this, especially considering just the amount of games that are already out and are coming out. It also feels like just yesterday we got the latest WarioWare game, WarioWare Get It Together. Eiyuden Chronicle 100 Heroes is a Suikoden-inspired title that got a chance to shine in this direct. Every time I've seen this game, I've been impressed. I liked how in this trailer they showcase the headquarters, specifically how you can upgrade that over time. It feels like that could be a really nice reward element throughout the game. The combat looks absolutely sublime. The story seems like it has a lot of potential. Hopefully it's good. This is due out next April. It's also coming to Game Pass. One thing I did not expect to see was DLC for Eastward, but that's exactly what we're getting. Eastward, Octopia, which appears to be almost ditching the combat that was so prevalent in the original game for a more relaxing experience. And I can go for that. I never played the original. I heard great things about it. And this DLC seems neat. Wargroove is also getting a sequel. I'm curious how well this is going to do so soon after Advance Wars came out. The gameplay looks great, and this is due out very shortly in October. I've heard great things about Dave the Diver, and seeing it in this Nintendo Direct may have convinced me to pick it up. This looks really, really fun. It has a really what appears to be satisfying gameplay loop where you're first diving for sushi and then you're actually making it. This is another pixel art game that just looks absolutely stunning. This was one of my bigger surprises of the Direct. This is due out October 26th. There's a free demo that's out today. I'm going to try out that demo because I'm interested in this game. I think it looks great, looks super fun. Looks like it can be pretty addicting. I'll give it a go. We got our first very tiny look at the last wave of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass. It really feels like yesterday this was initially announced that it started coming out, but now we're nearing the end of it. The course we're getting is one I'm a fan of, Daisy Circuit from Mario Kart Wii, and we're also getting Diddy Kong, Pauline, Peachette, and Funky Kong. Should we put the new Funky mode sign on the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe box art? More characters than I expected, but certainly a very nice treat. I'm wondering what we're going to see for the final tracks in this game. I really hope to see DK Mountain, but we're certainly going to see a Bowser's Castle. We're going to see a Rainbow Road. If I have my preference, it's the Wii Rainbow Road. We shall see when the final wave comes out this holiday. The penultimate game of this Direct was Among Us. We're getting a new map, The Fungal, which is out next month. Another thing that's coming out next month. The Fungal looks fun. I have not played Among Us in years. It's nice to have what appears to be a really different, distinct map to play on. And then it finally happens. After years and years, Paper Mario, the 1,000-Year Door, is coming to Nintendo Switch. I was watching this trailer, and the whole time, I'm like, show me the combat. Show me the combat. Because it's been so long since the Paper Mario series actually got it. Since they understood the gameplay system, since they specifically understood the battle system, and to see that it was just like the original, it brought me to tears. This game, it's almost tough to describe in words, right? Especially with how the series has gone since then. But Paper Mario The 1,000-Year Door is one of the most creative, one of the most cathartic, really one of the best games Nintendo's ever made. Where it shines is in its creativity. I mean, you're just going from area to area. Even minor NPCs you meet are memorable. All the various succinct locales are characters in and of themselves. And the combat is just so much fun. so strategic that you can play this game for hours and hours. It doesn't appear like they're sacrificing anything. Everything you remember from the original is there, except it's in that Origami King art style that looks absolutely stunning. It was emotional watching this. It really was emotional. If you've never played this is a drop everything and play it sort of game. It's that good. I think it's time to finally say that Mario RPGs are back, and all they had to do was go back to the way they originally were. Fun combat systems, actual experience points, incredible characters, memorable locations, incredible soundtracks. I'm speechless. I'm absolutely speechless. And I cannot wait for when this game launches on Switch next year. This game saved the Direct. I can't believe it. I really can't believe this game got announced, because this is one of those things where I thought the Paper Mario series was done for. And again, who knows where they go after this. But I have a feeling that people are going to play this and be like, you know what? Origami King was the first game I played, or Color Splash was the first Paper Mario game I played. But this Thousand Year Door, this is better. This is more fun. This is more creative. They should do more of this. If that's what this game does, if it sells well, maybe Nintendo will finally change this series back to where it was and further innovate in a way that doesn't intrude on what made the series so special. Overall thoughts on this Nintendo Direct. Just getting it out of the way, as I said, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door saved this Direct, because otherwise there were a lot of points where I was just bored. It reminded me a lot of the September 2021 Direct, but more specifically this February, where all the new announcements were remasters. There was nothing really new. We got our look at Princess Peach Showtime, but I gotta tell you, that game didn't excite me as much as I would have hoped. We had Mario vs. Donkey Kong, but that's a remaster, that's a remake, in a franchise that frankly doesn't excite me. And for all Paper Mario does, it is still a remaster. If we had an announcement similar to the scale of like a Luigi's Mansion 4, I think that would have made the Direct. I'm not saying that Luigi's Mansion 4 needed to be here. They're better off saving that for the next system where they can show that off graphically. But you get what I mean. An announcement of that caliber. Because to this point, we don't know too much about the Switch's lineup next year. We have Paper Mario whenever it comes out. I'm predicting late April, early May. We have Princess Peach in March. We have Mario vs. Donkey Kong in February. We have Luigi's Mansion in the summer. I really think the biggest takeaway I had from this Direct was it's now clearly obvious that Nintendo's transitioning to the next console. That the Switch is entering the final phase of its life, and the titles are, as a result, slowing down. We saw the same thing with the Wii. We saw the same thing with the Wii U. I think we're now seeing the same thing with the Switch. I think it's worth noting, however, that Nintendo, by all metrics, has had a phenomenal year. The Mario movie is one of the highest grossing films of all time. Tears of the Kingdom is constantly topping the sales charts, and I'm sure that Mario Wonder is going to sell gangbusters. Nintendo does not have much to worry about, and frankly, I'm not complaining too much about the overall lack of titles they may have shown, because I'm content with where the system is right now, and there are so many titles, particularly third party, that are coming out over the course of the next few months. In my opinion, this was one of the more disappointing Directs in recent memory. Easily the worst of this year, but we still got Paper Mario. That's going to be a trailer I'm going to look at dozens and dozens of times, because that's going to bring me a smile. Because to actually see that come back, I can't overstate it. It's incredible. But I'm curious to hear your thoughts on Nintendo Direct. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What did you like? What didn't you like? Sound off in the comments below. And seriously, thank you so much for taking the time to listen to this. Feel free to follow me on social media at TrueMRichardson and check out more gaming related content over on Michael's blog. Thanks again, and have a wonderful rest of your day.